Hey, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unboxed. I'm so glad that you chose to join us. Well, as you know, I spent a week with my family in Huntsville, and you're saying to yourself, "Man, bro, 1 week. I mean, you're riding this horse as far as it can go." Well, and that's because I learned so much when I spent time with my family. When I had spent time actually being in the home with my mother and father for the first time, and so I want to continue letting you know what spending time with my family taught me about leadership, what it taught me about relationships. So stick around as we unbox this wonderful subject. I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and relationship coach. And welcome to Unboxed, a frank and straightforward conversation about relationships. We're going to talk about family, church, workplace, and all other types of relationships. Join me for the next few moments as we unbox the power and potential of relationships and help you to live your best life. All right, everyone. Again, welcome to Unbox. Please do me a favor, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. So I told you, spending time with my family helped me to really see that, I'm emotionally reactive. I thought to myself, being a grown man, having my own home, having my own family, not being under my parents' roof, and being totally, independent would have lowered the level of emotional reactivity that I experience, in interacting with my parents. And I realized, being there for the last week that, wow, I'm very emotionally reactive. What I mean by that is there is a lot of control that my parents have. And I gave you an example, just one example about, how my mom loves to give advice, even when you don't ask for it. And and a lot of moms do that. So it's not to say that my mom is unique in that regard. A lot of moms like to give advice and can be somewhat overbearing. That's a trait. A lot of fathers can be that way as well. Trust me, that's one of my characteristics. But I realized, man, I'm very much reactive, and even though I was able to exhibit professionalism, the same way I would if I was dealing with a client or dealing with, a city official or something, being able to be poised and composed. I still recognize that internally there was a lot of turmoil and frustration and stress and every other type of emotion that you can, possibly think about. So a couple of things that I learned. I showed you yesterday. I learned that if you observe your emotions when you're in a high anxiety relationship, if you observe your emotions when you're in a high anxiety relationship, you will automatically function better. I realized that just thinking about it, being intentional about observing makes you function better. But then the second thing that I learned, this is what I want to share with you today, is that your emotional reaction tells you more about yourself than about the people in your family. And that's what I picked up on. I said, you know what? This has nothing to do with the fact that my mother, like every other mother I know, gives unsolicited advice, or, that this person may be bossy or whatever it may be. That has very little bit to do with it, because these personality traits are all over the world. I mean, this is not, we're not talking about a serial killer or something. We're talking about, personality traits. Someone who may joke too much, or may be a little insensitive, or may speak when they should be quiet. Those are just personality traits. And so one of the things I realized is, whoa. I'm finding myself becoming very emotional and very reactive. This has more to do with me. If this is a common trait that everyone, not everyone, but many people in the world have, and different personalities, why is it that I'm getting so angry, so upset, so emotional about these things? There's something going on with me. And let me tell you what's going on. And this is the first thing that I want you to learn. Number one, when you find yourself becoming emotionally reactive, it tells you more about yourself than about the other person. And one of the things that it tells you is this: your identity and individuality is too dependent on others. Yes, that's right. Your individuality and your identity is too dependent on others. And one of the things about being a great leader is that great leaders have to be what is called well-defined or well-differentiated. What that simply means is I am able to be in relationships without the relationships controlling me. I am able to be in relationships without being too dependent on relationships. And this sounds wonderful, but it actually is a process of actually, mapping out the lines of who you are in a picture. It's kind of like, I want you to think about it kind of like a picture. In a picture, it is one complete drawing, but at the same time, you can see each individual parts of the picture very completely, such as if there's a tree or a ship or waves or human beings and animals. You can see each one of them individually, but they're all a part of that one picture. So I want to be able to be a part of relationship systems and still maintain my own individuality and my own uniqueness. And one of the things that you learn about yourself when you recognize that, hey, I'm very emotional. There's a lot of turmoil going on here, a lot of stuff stirring around in here. Even though I'm projecting, calm and stability, there's a lot going on here. One of the things that lets you know is that your individuality, your identity is too dependent on others. And as a great leader, that's not something that you want. You don't want to be dependent on others, especially from an emotional perspective. And then number two, and that is you allow others to have control over how you function in relationships. When you recognize and you observe, hey, I got this turmoil going on here. One of the things that is showing you is that you allow others to have control over how you function in relationships. One of the things that helps leaders to be emotionally mature is when they're able to be in relationships without being controlled by the relationship. You see, one of the things is that either you're in the relationship and it controls you. That's one extreme. I'm in the relationship, I ain't going nowhere, but the relationship controls me. I'm emotional, I get upset, I have all this stuff going on inside, even exhibiting outwardly, etc. The other extreme is, you know what, I'm done. Throw up my hands and I leave. I'm out of here. I don't have to put up with this mess. My name is Wes and I ain't got to put up with this mess. That's the other extreme. The middle, where leaders find that sweet spot, is being able to be in relationship with difficult people without allowing the difficult people to have control over their internal or external emotional responses. Internal emotional reactivity, external emotional responses, by being able to be in those relationships without allowing others to control. And again, this is a process. One of the things I love about UnBoxed is that we work with leaders and we help leaders to really go through and to process and to understand, the background of how that emotional computer was pre-programmed and how do I become an authentic leader where I'm in control of the situation, or in the biggest situation is I'm in control of myself in every situation. I said that a little backwards, but I'm in control of myself in every situation. I'm calm, non-anxious, and able to relate without being controlled by the other individuals with whom I am relating. Man, to get to that place, because most leaders that we work with, most leaders that I work with, man, they are phenomenal at strategic planning and vision casting and doing the administrative and technical duties of their job. But emotionally, it becomes so overwhelming. And that's where that burnout comes from. That burnout comes from that overwhelming, that emotional, becoming emotionally overwhelmed, that internal turmoil that allowing others to have that control. Boy, I'm telling you, that really can drain the energy and can really put additional stress on a leader that ultimately causes them to burn out and to just become, disenchanted. And I don't want that for you. Listen, I'm so glad that you chose to join us today. We're going to pick up on this subject because I learned some other things as well. So I got a few more things to share with you. We're going to pick up on those next week as we continue to unbox the power and the potential of your leadership and to unbox the power and the potential of every relationship. Take care.
Seasoned with Grace Unboxed also provides healthy relationship training and leadership development for businesses, churches, and community organizations. For a free consultation to discuss your team's needs, please contact us at our website at swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org.